Hey, how do you know when you're ready to make a decision? That's what we're talking about today. It is, I want to say influence, that's the wrong word. I was watching the movie Highest to Lowest with Denzel Washington recently. And in that movie, I will not give it away, don't worry, there are no spoilers here. But in that movie, he's faced with a situation where he needs to make a critical decision very fast. And it made me think about that. The situations when we ourselves have to make a decision, not what you're going to eat for supper, not what you're going to wear that day. These decisions that are on the precipice of change. How do you know that it is now time to move it along? So, the first point I have here is that it becomes constant. It's just there. It reminded me the other day, my cat, I have two, and both of them actually wouldn't leave me. Everywhere I went, they just follow me from room to room, just hanging around, circling my feet. It was really, really nice, but it was a bit much. So yeah, that's what the decision does to you. It becomes like something hanging around in your head, not something that you can push away as much, but it becomes much and much more present on your day to day. The next, there is the fact that the reason it is chasing you is because you don't want to look at it. There is a kind of threat that underlies it. And this is the thing with change, because with change comes a change of state. If you've ever read the book Who Moved My Cheese, that's really what it's about. You're comfortable in the way things are. And if you're talking about your business, you've been running your business in a certain way, and you don't want to consider these things that will create change. Of course, the reason you're thinking about this idea is because it might be great change. It might be something wonderful that you're striving towards. But the thing with us as human beings is that we are comfortable being the person we have been. It's the identity that you have. I was talking to a lady recently, and I surprised her when I told her that part of the reason that she might not be so eager to move on, to progress with the idea that she has, is the fear of success. She was quite surprised. She hadn't considered that. And that's something that happens to us. We don't, society as a whole doesn't have that conversation. It's not something we talk about. Fear, you cannot be afraid of success. What does that mean? Success is what you want, really. But is it? Have you placed yourself in the position of the successful version of you? That might mean that you don't have your friends anymore. That might mean that you need to move out of the town where you are. A lot of things could be tied up to success. That part of your mind knows. So, and that is a part of your mind that probably doesn't want to look at this issue at all, because there is this underlying threat. You're moving from room to room, trying to avoid this thought process that you're meant to have. What might happen though is that first it might be time bound. That's what happened in this movie. It was truly time bound. It's something that he needed to decide very fast. But it could be the load. This load that you're carrying might start getting you down. When you hear about diseases and things that happen to people physically, sometimes it is because of what's happening inside our system. We are out of balance. We are out of balance because of some of the things that we refuse to see. So you could physically get an ailment. I'm not saying it shall happen, but these could be the signs that manifest within your life to show you that you actually need to do something. It might be this fatigue that you've been carrying because you have such a heavy mental load because of all these decisions that you are not looking at. There's a shift about you. If you allow yourself in the silence to look at the matter, you already know what you're going to do. So some people might never get beyond the previous stage. So they know that they must make the decision, but they must ignore it at all costs. And the costs can get to be very high. But when you allow yourself the silence to get to sit and listen to this internal turmoil that's going on and see what might happen at the position beyond the decision that you're making, to allow yourself to look at it, that begins a slight recalibration, because then you're not, the internal fight It might still be there, but it's not as strong because at the very least, you've allowed yourself to see what it is that's going on. So that silence is really a pinnacle moment, something quite important. And then beyond that, it's inevitable. No matter the outcome, even if you dread it, you realize that it will be. That is a very powerful position to be in when you realize that it's not this control that you're trying to have over the situation that will affect it. It's not the hope or the prayer or the positive energy that you throw into it that will necessarily change what it is that you want. It's this expectation that you're holding on to, that you're saying that it cannot be. Expectation meaning that you have a view of how the world should be. And because you're holding on to that view, you're creating resistance in this direction that you know, if I make this decision, things might go in this way, and that is not a way that I want. I want to have control. So in the ability to let go of control, understand that some of these things cannot be helped, in that they cannot, you do not have the power to ensure that they end up in the direction that you want them to go. And with that comes peace. Let me make sure that I'm in the right place. You allow yourself to let go of control in that particular thing or area, whether or not you like the outcome. Then there's a sense of peace. Peace is such a sign. It's like an internal wave. It's such a sign to tell you that you are in the right direction. And you know it, and that's a bit of the point. Your system knew it all along, which is partly why you had that resistance at some point, partly why you were being chased by the decision, because you did not want to look at it, because you knew already what it is that you wanted to do, what it is that you were going to do. And with a sense of peace comes, you let go and you let be, que sera sera. And that is the decision-making process. And it's actually what happened in the movie. So at some point, he makes a decision to do something. Granted, there was drama thereafter because it is a movie. And that's what happens in our lives as well. It could be that the decision you get into is something that turns your life upside down. I was reading a book by Martha Beck recently. I forget the name. But in that book, she talks about how she grew up firmly in the Mormon church. And in time, she came to realize that that was not her truth. She realized that that was no longer her truth for many reasons, and I won't give you the whole background. Then she realized that she needed to turn away from the church. And in that church, it's such a big thing. The excommunication means that everyone you know, because it's such a close-knit community, everyone you know, you lose touch with, because then they're not allowed to speak to you anymore. And it's like a death within that society, which is a society of everybody you knew. And yet when she realized that this is something that she needed to do, there came the peace. There came the peace of being aligned internally within herself. And that is available to you as well when making these big decisions in business and in life. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you.